Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kyrus Has Friends. My name is Kyrus, and I am super excited because this is a web series where I get to sit down and talk with the people that are nearest and dearest to my hearts, the people that inspire me, and those people are my friends. We have a super, super duper cool guest today, but before we get to her, I do want to say if you like anything that you're watching right now, please be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan. I do have a policy that if you send me a smile, I will send you one back. I believe that smiles are meant to be shared with everybody. Also, you can follow me on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan, where I go live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. We focus on a different artist and a different musician and different poet every Wednesday, and we have a grand old time. So be sure to follow me at Kyrus Keenan on TikTok. We go live every Wednesday. And with all of that being said, you can also visit my website at thevibewithkai.com, where I'm always posting some blogs and videos and stuff that'll make you do good and feel good and be good and just live a good life full of good vibes. So enough about me. Let's get to the guest of honor today, the wonderful, the beautiful Meg Fry. Hi.
Hello.
How are you? Happy almost summer.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice out.
It is beautiful outside. And
yeah.
you know, it doesn't, it's crazy because like it's May, but I feel like this year has been going on for about like 20 years now.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know, there's been like a period in my life where I just feel like it was like the year that wasn't. Mm-hmm. Like I have a birthday coming up. And so if I think about like the age I am now, which is somewhere in my 30s, it's just the year that wasn't. And so I'm just going to go back to that age and like not count this year, and I will forever be that age. But,
right.
You know.
I feel like we're going to look back at this time period with our children and our children's children, and they're going to ask about what happened in 2020, and we're going to be like, we're not going to talk about that year, damn it.
It's canceled.
It's canceled. 2020 is definitely canceled. Oh my God. But hey, we're here, and I have a glass of wine.
Yes.
So cheers to you, my lady.
Cheers.
Boom. What are you drinking tonight?
Rebel Canyon, because it was $5 and it's actually delicious.
Very nice. I am drinking a red that I stole from my mother's house when I went to go visit her. I have no idea what it's called. No idea what the date was, like what year it was. I have no idea I know nothing about it. All I know is that it's in my hand and it's going down my throat and it tastes delicious.
Yeah, I mean, quarantine rules just.
Listen, quarantine life, this is just how it is nowadays.
It's the only time that we're actually encouraged to regress to the age that we need to steal liquor from our parents' house.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong in the slightest. But hey, listen, with that being said, you bring up quarantine. Yeah. So quarantine, how is it quarantine for you? How are you hanging?
I'm a really big family-oriented person, so like I'm really feeling the effects of not being able to like hug my siblings or my mom. But in terms, like, you know, the weather's been nice, so like it's not really like you're not in your house the entire time. You can go out on like walks, and I've gone on hikes. I've actually braved like some of the state parks, and it's doable. I mean, you go, like, I always have a mask on, you know, because like somebody can just like randomly show up behind you. Mm-hmm. I would say that the majority of people have not. So
right, I think that's the scary part, right? Because like a lot of us have been taking social distancing fairly seriously, right? Like you, I haven't really at all hugged my mom in months, right? All because I just don't want to chance it. And like the fact, and I'm a hugger, right? Especially with my family. And the fact that I haven't been able to like hug my mom, like I'm making that choice because I know that in the long run, by being safe now, we're protecting our future. But there are people out there that are just not listening. They don't care anymore. Yeah. They feel like it's just like, oh no, it's done. It's not over.
Right. I think it's like I'm learning this through like some of the like freelance opportunities too, is that like people tend to think like, oh, like our state's opening back up again, that must mean like nobody's sick anymore. And that's not the case. Like even, I have family that works in hospitals, and they're saying like, yeah, they're closing down wards, which is great. But those are the people that were like sick in like March.
Right.
They're not the new cases. Like those people have yet to be in the hospital.
Right.
So, all the fun things you learn.
I just want everybody to be safe, because I just want people to know, like, I know it's hard right now to like to stay away and to not go out and do the things that you're used to, but like you doing this now will protect us from having to do this for much longer, because this thing can go on for quite some time.
Oh yeah. So like I've in the freelance work that I have gotten, I've talked with people at big biopharmaceuticals, at hospital systems, even like small like biomedical companies, and they're all like, yeah, even with all the work and all the regulations and all that done, it's going to take at least 18 months. Like you're not going to see anything for 18 months. And they're, pretty cautious about opening stuff up, just because like if everyone follows the hard part, the hard thing to hear when I'm like interviewing people is like, if everyone just stayed in their homes for 2 weeks straight, did nothing but stay inside, made sure they had like food and water and whatever they needed for 2 weeks, which is 14 days, it could have been done.
Yes. But what doesn't, and I mean, I'm not one to get political here, but like what doesn't help is I feel like the leadership, we have some leadership that's just not helping the situation, and that's the disappointment, because people listen to what these politicians have to say, and the ones that are not taking it seriously are doing a disservice, and it's going to lead to more death.
Yep. Yeah. And hopefully there's more positives to come than negatives. But there's a lot of talk about like a potential second wave, and we won't have the nice weather where like you can at least see your grandmother like from like 30 feet away, to like go stand outside on the front yard or whatever. Like you're not really going to have an opportunity to like even do the social distancing that you have been.
Right.
So
that's all good. I like what you said though about being positive though, because like I feel like that's the most important part about all of this, just finding a way to be positive about it. And so that actually leads me into my next question. So like, what have you been doing to just like pass the time? Because I know that there are a lot of people that have been just working on various projects. Like this is one of them. Like this interview series is a project that I just started, from quarantine. What are you working on right now to help pass the time? Are there any like TV shows that you're watching or projects you're working on? What are you doing?
So I started by doing a meta puzzle, which was a puzzle that you didn't know what it was until you finished it.
See, I can't do that. I can't do that. Like, you're talking about when you like put like you have no idea what the picture is, but you still try to piece it together. No, my anxiety would be through the roof. I can't do it.
Oh, there were nights where like I was standing in my living room at 3 a.m. and like just like I couldn't sleep. Like I had to I was like, I know this piece exists. It has to exist. It doesn't. And like, why doesn't it? And it was stressful, but it was actually a Christmas gift from my cousin and his fiance, and they're like very artsy people. He's a furniture designer. She does graphic design and typography and that sort of thing. And so I was like, yeah, we should put it together and then we'll like frame it. And I was like, the whole time in their mind, I'm like, they're gonna get a good Christmas gift.
Have you finished it?
Yeah, it's finished, but we haven't glued it yet because we tried to put a piece of cardboard underneath it to glue, and like the whole thing came apart.
Oh no! All that work.
Well, we did it kind of slowly, so it was only like the bottom half.
Right.
And at least you actually like knew what the pieces were. You're like, oh yeah, I remember this.
This little piece, dang it.
Yeah.
So how have you feel like you've been doing just navigating through this whole quarantine? Do you feel good? Do you feel optimistic? Do you feel like like you're in a good spot, or that you're going to be in a good spot once it's all like, I guess, said and done?
I had a lot of like disappointments. I was supposed to go. I had saved up for like years to pay for like a really good family trip, and like that. And it's not like through one company. Like I booked it through like several like budget companies, and So now I have to like figure out that's postponed until end of July, but like it's canceled. It's all canceled. And so I have to like figure out that. And then, you know, we had like life plans. I was looking forward to like the next step in my career. I was looking forward to like saving up for family planning. Those things are just, you know.
Right. So what do you do to because you've always been a strong, positive person, right? That's actually, so one of the things I do is I write down things that when the person that I'm interviewing, I write down the things that I admire about them. And then the words that I wrote down were just like strong. That's the first word I wrote down was strong. And you always, and you fight, right? You're a fighter.
Yeah.
So through all that, even with the disappointment, how are you finding ways to just stay positive? Like what are you doing to help stay positive through all this?
I mean, I am like, I do have my partner John with this, so like I'm not completely isolated and alone. So like that's, you know, really, really helpful. You know, I am able to like, at least go like stand in the front yard and like see like, you know, some family. It's weird because like I'm you know, I need to be close to them and like understand what's going on in their lives, but like, you know, my siblings are in school, my mom's in school, like that's what they do. And so, and like that whole experience is like crazy. Like they actually have like, they say they have like more work now. However, it is more, I think there's more oversight. So that's a positive.
Right. Have you found it any like difficult to, because you're the big sis, right? You they look up to you and you protect them, and you're such a strong, powerful big sis. Have you found it to be more difficult to be like that big sis with the social distancing, or do you feel like it's brought you guys even closer together in a way?
I think I actually think, because I'm like trying to focus on the positive, so I'm a pessimist. Like, yes, I'm like, I think I'm a strong person. I'm definitely a fighter. I think the thing is like, I expect for things to go wrong.
Sure.
As somebody with hypochondria, like this is the last thing I ever wanted. Like I'm developing like all sorts of like weird symptoms that like don't have anything to like, you know, my body's just like, I don't know what's been going on for the past 4 months, but it's gotta stop. Like this is like, like the worst. It's the worst.
Right.
So I just, you know, you get to that point. There's been a couple points in my life where it's just like, pour a glass of wine and sit in it, because there's nothing you can do right now, and like good things have come out of that point in my life before.
Right.
So I'm just trying to, you know, because I'm trying to be more positive. At the beginning, it was harder because I was like, guys, you need to wear a mask. Like you cannot leave the house to go see your friends. What are you doing? Like, no.
Put on your mask. Put on your mask.
So I felt like I was getting really frustrated and getting really like, just there was just a lot of like fear-based, a person that like I didn't want to be. And so just accepting like, look, they're doing what they can, we're doing what we can, we're following like every rule times 2 to keep everyone safe. And so, you know, it's like, I just focusing on that, I feel like it's been a little better in terms of like, I'm not going to yell at them if they didn't get their homework done.
Right.
You know, like who
right.
It's sort of like, why now?
Right.
So
I love your family. Your family. I feel like the adopted like brother in a way, right? Because like I'm like you everybody in your family is so sweet and supportive. I remember like even performing, you know, whenever I'm like performing and your family's in the audience, like they're just always so loving and supportive of me. I'm like, I love you guys too.
And they're super fans of yours on TikTok for sure.
That's awesome.
I feel, it was the thing, like my sister like found you on TikTok and she's like, Kyrus is on TikTok. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, why don't you show that? It's not just, like doing all the dances. We even did one together.
Yeah.
Where like I, you know, there's like the whole choreography thing, but I just like dance in the background.
Right.
but yeah,
I love them. Like they're all so sweet and they're all so kind and they've welcomed me with open arms. I'll never forget the day that we did the photo shoot at the beach. That was a great day. Like it was a really cool chill day, and then we got ice cream afterwards, which was delicious.
You have to
So
do
good.
Hoffman's.
What beach were we at? That's the part I don't remember. What beach was it?
We were at Bayhead Beach because that is where my mom and I live.
Right. Right. Yeah. Oh, that was such a fun day. Oh my gosh, I love that day. That was a fun day. I
We
do
have
want
to do another one because
wait.
now
What's?
they're like,
I'm down. Oh, I'm so down. You know how to get in
now
contact
they're
with
like
me.
grown.
They're all grown adults now in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah. No, they're 12 and 14, and like it's just such a different age. I think we did it when they were like.
Yeah, it was how long ago? It was 5 years ago? No, 4.
If it was
3?
that long.
It's been a while. I do know that. It's been a while.
I don't think they were teenagers yet.
No, definitely not. So I do want to talk to you about this thing that I know that you so you're a woman in business, right? Like that is you've been a woman that has, I guess, worked in fields that are most of the time run predominantly by men, right?
Yeah.
What is it like? I know that's a broad general question, but like how do you navigate through that, like every day, to be a woman in business that is so determined and so forceful? How do you go about navigating a world that is dominated by men?
So when I worked in film and TV, it was actually an asset because like there was a female producer who was like, you're type A and you have really good like writing and communication skills and you have really good organizational skills. Like I think you should be a producer. And so she kind of put me on a track that followed that, where I would like take on different roles in film and television and put all that together. And that kind of required me to go out to like the West Coast, and when I really needed to be here for family, I kind of made a switch. I was doing very like short contract based work. And I ended up getting into journalism, where I became a reporter for my biggest beat was women in business. And so I talked to a lot of women who basically the thing I heard most often is I was fired, or I was I was used as a scapegoat, or something that they were working for, typically a male boss, where something didn't go right and they were they needed to make a new career move, and they went into entrepreneurship. And now they're like huge success stories. And so I was a journalist for like many years, and women in business was just like my main beat. But I wrote about a whole bunch of things, and then I mean, journalism is just one of those fields where you're told the truth until you're not.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what's up and what's down a lot.
Are there any like female journalists that you like look up to, or like that you were like, oh yeah, she is setting a good example for me?
All of the female reporters who sit there and say to President Trump right now, but you said this.
I saw that conference. Oh my sweet Lord, baby Jesus.
It's every conference.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously every oh my God, though. Just like, oh.
But they sit there and they say, you said this on this date at this time. Can you clarify your statements? And he can't. He just can't.
Terrible question, fake news.
And then he starts bringing like, not even just their gender, but their race and their looks and their intelligence into it. And you're just like, how is this hole not being dug? Like you're throwing a shovel into the ground. How is it not doing anything? Right.
So what would you say like, I know that like there are a lot of young women right now that are maybe graduating this year from college with journalistic intentions, and in a world right now that, I mean, a lot of men are being rightfully exposed for their wrongdoings in the past and in the present. On top of that, we're in a world where women make a fraction of the money that men make, in a world where women often don't get the same seat at the table as men, even when they deserve it more so most of the time. If there were a young woman right now that were watching this that was curious about how they should go about, like, even finding the energy to just face that and deal with that, what would you say to them right now?
It comes down to confidence. It really comes into walking into a room. I had a friend once tell me to go into job interviews like I already had the job. And I was like, that sounds incorrect. But he was like, that's what I do. And because I have the skills, I have the knowledge, and I have the work history to do it. So do you. He's like, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, because it really comes down to people want to work with people they like and trust. And if you're confident about who you are and what you do, that's going to shine through. And I think the other thing to remember is, well, first of all, off the record is not a thing.
Right. Right.
But on that note, I would still encourage people to always be ethical, because like you're the person that has to, you have to live with yourself. There were a lot of times in my career where I was asked to do something I wasn't comfortable with, and I said no, because like in terms of getting a story, in terms of making
right.
of getting dinner with someone and getting a story out of it, I was like, that's I'm not that kind of journalist. If I was an investigative reporter and like that was my job, then like shame on them for knowing that's what I do for a living and like still agreeing to, like, it has to be on the person. And there was a lot of times where I was like, that's not right. I'm not going to do that. Most of the times when I was able to write stories that had something negative about a business, the business told me. Like they were just like, this is what happened. This is what we're doing to fix it. And this is what, our, consumers or whatever can think moving forward. And then of course you do some like research and, there's like figures that are public, and you sit there and you say, oh, I can't publish the story until you give me those numbers or you give me those facts. There's ethical ways to do it. So I would just say confidence and remain ethical regardless of your, if your boss tells you to do something you don't feel comfortable with, that's your choice to make, but my choice was not to.
Right. Now you worked a lot if I'm not mistaken, you did some work in the film and TV industry as well, like in particular to like script writing and all of that. So I know that you have not only a background in that, but often a heavy interest in just the industry, like the film and TV industry in general. So what are your thoughts on how the film and TV industry are going to handle this? Because obviously, I mean, pilot season is probably going to get I have no idea how they're going to handle that. I don't know how they're going to handle upfronts. I don't know how they're going to, people can write, obviously, they can still do that, but how there's usually at this point, they're filming, things for next year, things that are probably going to get pushed off for years and years and years. How do you think the film and TV industry is going to come out of this?
So the biggest thing that I think about, and this is just like my producer accountant coming out, is the insurance for like big name actors. Just think about the cost of that. Their insurance is going to go up because if they get this and they end up in the hospital because of like they were asked to be on set one day and in close contact. I mean, like, we're actors. Like just think about like Wild Party or like there's just no way
where there's close, intimate, physical action. Yeah, absolutely.
And even in the crew, so when there's a shot, you're only seeing what the camera and the lens is getting, but there's like 50 people behind that camera. The director is surrounded by like 5 people, like including like all of his assistants and the DP and like the data people. There's so many people that need to be for that one shot. And I think some people have made it work, and so some of the smaller companies I used to work with have been making it work in terms of like commercials. Like they're able to like do like a like a small crew, 3 to 5 people out in like the community, and they're able to like keep their distance and wear masks and things. But like you can't wear masks on camera. sure that the film and TV industry right now is hoping and betting on a treatment or a vaccine.
Right.
There will be like tons of entertainment law that comes out of this because they're gonna get involved with like, you know, actor insurance and crew insurance. You know, and unfortunately, like the crew is kind of the afterthought, and so I'm really I
Like
feel
feeling for them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to support like all of my friends who work for film and TV shows right now because I don't want them to feel like they have to go back to work. Everybody wants to, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But you know, even people that are healthy you're worried about it, and to be worried is just another aspect on top of what can be like a 12 to 16-hour day.
Right. Now, you alluded to this before, and this is, I mean, pretty much how we pretty much met, but you're a performer as well, right? And obviously we're not able to go and perform, like, at least not in the way that we're used to. Like, obviously we have, you know, we can record things and go live online and things like that, but, you know, there's nothing that beats the feeling of performing in front of a packed house and a live audience, and they're cheering you on and they're clapping and whatever they feel. Do you miss performing?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my sense of community. You know, like I worked, I spent time with my family, and I did theater. That's all of my friends are from theater. Mm-hmm. It was really a form of therapy for me, and so like not having that right now is, I've done a couple of virtual things, which are cool because you're like, you know, you get to see your friends and you're part of something, but you're missing that daily interaction. And even just, you know, keeping up with your like vocal warm-ups and your craft and everything like that. It's just difficult.
It's hard. I drove to my mom's house. I was at my mom's house yesterday, and I literally just went in the basement and just sang. Yeah. Right, because I don't really get to like do that anymore. Not like full-fledged, just like I'm gonna belt something out as much as possible. And I just sang. I just picked some of my favorite songs that I didn't record it or anything. I just went down to my basement, put on some instrumental tracks, and just sang. Right, because like, and I realized then how much I just miss that so freaking much.
Yeah, it's definitely like a release of tension. Mm-hmm. And especially since like we're all at our computers working now, like it's all building up here, it's all building up here. I actually had vocal paralysis earlier this year. Some neurological thing happened, and one side of my vocal cords just completely stopped moving. And so I was building back from that, you know, like singing through straws and like breathing exercises and like stretching, and I can feel like all the tension like coming back. So I try to sit there and like at least get rid of that. And
how are you feeling now?
I mean, I'm probably at like 90%. There was a point where I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting notes that I haven't gotten in years, but like I think it's stress induced. So sometimes, you know, I've never had a stutter. You know, now I do.
I remember us talking when we went to Fridays that one day, and we sat and we caught up, and I remember us talking about your fear just kind of going into that, you know, just where things were. But I'm happy to hear that you're that you're feeling better, and and you're at 90%. And I mean, if anything, perhaps maybe this rest that we're all getting, I mean, perhaps we're going to all come out, even better. I believe this full-fledged. Whenever the theaters are allowed to reopen again, every theater, the first show at that theater, no matter what theater is, that first show is going to be the best show that theater has ever done, because I think a lot of people have taken performing for granted, and now we freaking miss it. And when we get the chance to actually perform again in front of an audience safely and like loud and proud, we are all going to be singing our freaking asses off.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need I will do it. I will need a lot of support, and I will have to be. I'm gonna need a designated driver, because I will have to be drinking just to like get in the theater, because I'm gonna be like.
So, like, I can't wait.
I want to do it, and so Yeah, I feel like just put me in a show where I have to be drunk the whole time. Like put me in, like ladies who lunch. I'll be great.
Drowsy chaperone or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do Wild Party again. Just like put
Oh
me in
my
the
God,
bag.
absolutely, absolutely. Wait, so speaking of performing, one of my favorite moments, one of my favorite performances of yours, it was actually at Icon last year. So for those of you that are not familiar, Icon is this singing competition that where they get like the best singers from around the state of New Jersey to perform. It's kind of like American Idol, but for New Jersey, right? And so they get a bunch of performers to come and perform. And you and I both made it to semifinals.
Yeah.
And so we were at semifinals, and you sang from Bridges of Madison County, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that performance was so good. Like we had like a chat beforehand, but I remember listening to you perform because I think you went maybe like 2 or 3 people before me or something like that. So I was in the wing and I was just kind of watching, and your performance of that song was so freaking good, and I love that song. The song that you sang, oh my God, what was it called?
It all fades away.
It all fades away because it all fades away. It all fades away. I was like, oh my God, and you killed it, and it was so good. And I don't know if I ever like told you that like face to face how much I really really enjoyed that performance. What was it? What was it like just going into that night? Because it's not easy to perform in like a competition, let alone when you have hundreds and hundreds of people watching you and you have all these other brilliant singers performing before and after you and stuff like that. What is your mindset when you walk out on that stage and you're about to sing that song?
Yeah, you're right. It's nerves. Like what a lot of people know is that you go through your round, and then I was a Sing for Your Life, so I had another round, and then you have semifinals. You know, so it's like all these rounds that you have to do to get there.
Yeah.
And this was a newer song. I had sang "Me in the Sky" from "Come From Away" for the first 2 rounds. And I just wanted to do something that you know, I'm realizing that as much as I love musical theater, like if you sit there and say like the 3 things you are, I'm an actor first, a singer second, a mover third.
I'm a mover. Hey, cheers to movers
Yeah,
out there.
cheers to moving. I'm working on becoming a better dancer. It's not even that I'm like awkward or gawky. It's that like people seem to pick it up so fast, and like
Right.
I just need like 5 more seconds. You know, I'm lagging. But like in Zumba, I'm doing great. Like
There we go.
I'm like waiting to be called up. I'm like, I know this, why don't you?
Right.
But yeah, when you get on stage, I just try to take a deep breath because I'm a very anxious person, and it all just like what if I fail? And like it's just such an experience to go out on stage and be like, yeah, you could, like it could happen. And just to know that like everything's going to be fine and people are going to be supportive, and I was happy with my performance. I mean, there were definitely things you could like pick out and be like, oh, I could have done better.
Sure,
on that.
but you know what? You go out there, like you have one chance to do it, right? And like you go out there and you do your best in the moment, and that's all you can ever ask for. And like obviously, like afterwards, like being the performers that we are, we end up like nitpicking the little things, like, oh, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have sang it this way, blah blah. Maybe if I had that last drink of water, I would have been able to do that, or something.
But I don't think that happens during like that doesn't happen to me during shows unless something
right.
really goes wrong. I'm never like I'm just like, well, it happened, another show tomorrow, or
Right.
we're closed, like let's go out. But
Right.
that doesn't happen during shows. I it's the difference. So I used to be a part of Second City in Chicago, and it's the difference between me doing stand-up, which I was terrible at, just awful. Like I would have to pay my audiences to come see me, to being an improviser and being the one that they like blacked out on the joke. Like I was consistently ending the scenes because like I fed off everyone's energy, and like I understood what they were going for and the joke that they were trying to make, and like it was just more of like a collaboration and collective energy that I really connected to, rather than like, okay, I'm gonna go out and be funny. It's not who I am. Like I need a team of people, and so like Icon is very you're in a silo.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a better performer when I'm you know, I have a cast,
Right,
especially
right.
one that I'm like really close with.
Right.
Which is the
But
whole
you did a
point of
great
doing
job though. Like it was so good, and I love that. And it was the funny part because and yeah, you know this already because like that was the song that I was originally
Yeah.
going to do, and then I don't remember how I found out that you were doing it. I think maybe
They put
we
like
had
a
to
list
write in the
out.
group. We had in the Facebook group we had to write what song we were singing,
Yeah.
and I think you wrote that song, and I was like, God damn it!
It was a bold choice. You know, it's
But it was
originally sung by
great.
a man. You know,
Mhm.
and it's repetitive, but
Mhm.
like I like to pick songs that speak to me. And like it really, I mean, especially now, just think of the lyrics. Like it all fades away. Like just
Mhm.
keep in mind what's important and who's
Right.
important, and just keep moving forward. And because like
Absolutely.
it, you know,
That's all you
life
can
is
do.
short. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's all you can do, honestly. So with that said, just to kind of like wrap it all up here,
Yeah.
given the current situation that a lot of people are in and how they're feeling and things like that, you know, are there any words or mantras or things that you kind of go back to kind of just keep you going on a daily basis? Like, is there anything that you're just like, and then you think of this and then you are able to go about your day?
Yeah. I think everything I'm working towards is about freedom.
Hmm.
You know, not like in the patriotic sense, but like freedom to work, to live, freedom to you know, be with my family without fear. You know, just doing everything that we need to right now to get to that point. And it's kind of cheesy, but like it's all about love.
Hmm.
Um, like I just you have to reflect on like the love that you have in your life,
Hmm.
and that can be like, you know, I really miss my friends. I really do. Like I love you, and I love like you know, everybody that I've done theater with, and um, it's crazy that, you know, we have to be faced with loss
Hmm.
to realize that, and it's either like the loss of your freedom or your job, or
Hmm.
unfortunately, you know, family members.
Right.
You know, that really makes you reflect on that.
Hmm.
And so I really hope that's what people hold on to during this time, is
Right.
to just keep treating each other with kindness, and put your friends and family first. Like they're
Right.
the priority.
Right. I adore you and I love you, and like we go way back.
Yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
go way back, and I have always been one of your biggest fans, and I will always continue to support you, and I appreciate you like honestly taking the time to do this. I always admired your ability to just like hustle and just do you, and to just keep pushing through no matter what, right? And like you are, if I'm really convinced, if there's anybody that in my group of friends that I'm convinced is going to become like the next big entrepreneur of some sort, like it's definitely you. Like without a doubt, I have no doubt that I'm just going to one day be like, I'm going to see you with a picture with like Sheryl Sandberg or something, like holding hands or something.
I mean, like it's so much work, and it's so much that you don't think about. But that's what, like, if I think about the life that
Hmm.
I want to be able to decide who I work with, and I want to be able to decide on the projects I get to do. Right
Hmm.
before this, I was putting together a great nonprofit,
Hmm.
you know, program, a cabarets for a cause,
Hmm.
because I was like, oh, well, we put on these amazing shows with amazing performers. Like, let's make some money for good causes from it, and
Right.
like partner. I think once things open up again, like restaurants are going to be looking for that kind of stuff again.
Hmm.
So, you know, you know, if I haven't talked to you in a while, and like you were a part of that, like it's on hold. It's not gone.
Hmm.
A lot of the projects I have are just on hold. And what happens to me, like I'm a pessimist. I'll admit it. Like you sit there and say I'm like a positive person. I think it's just the sarcasm that like emanates. But if I I do sit with something and I stew over it. I do. And I'm just like, you know, I'll just wait in the wings until I make it happen because I'm stubborn and I don't like when things aren't finished.
Yeah,
So
I get that. I 100% get that.
yeah.
Please give your family all of my love. Give John a hug and a kiss from me. I love all of you guys, and I miss you. And I can't wait until this thing is done, so we can hang out and drink some wine together
Yes.
in person and all of
Yes.
that. So
We'll go to Fridays again. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. Clink. Thank you, Meg, so much for sitting down with me. Everybody else, if you enjoyed this, once again, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Vibe with Kai. You can follow me on Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan. Once again, if you send me a picture of you smiling, I will send a picture of me smiling right back, because I believe that smiles are meant to be shared, not just on our own. And also, you can follow me on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan. Meg, I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You were an amazing person. Like, you sit there and say, I'm going to be the next extra entrepreneur. You are one. You are a brand.
I'm just trying to have fun.
Following what you do to make it all happen. I'm like, oh, what did Kyrus do today? That's what I'll do.
I just want to make people smile, and I just want to, you know, do whatever I can, you know, because when I see other people happy, it makes me happy. So, like, it's the least I can do, you know?
Yeah.
You know, but I love you.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you so much, babe. I love you.
Have a good night.
I'll see you. Bye, everybody. Good vibes.